Is the red carpet just a river of sequins and silk? To some, it is simply a space where stars shimmer for cameras.
I enjoy red carpets. I'm one of those people that would rather just do the carpet and nothing else. So I love it, you know what I mean? It's fun because I feel like I get to create different characters, and I feel like through fashion, I have found a sense of confidence.
It is a cultural ritual, and one of the oldest stages of power still alive today. The first record of a carpet of honor dates back over 2,400 years. In Aeschylus's ancient Greek tragedy Agamemnon, a crimson path is laid for a returning king. By the 20th century, this tradition transformed into Hollywood spectacle. In 1922, the Egyptian Theater in Los Angeles rolled out a red carpet for the premiere of Robin Hood. The red carpet became inseparable from cinema itself. By 1961, the Academy Awards televised arrivals on the red carpet, turning it into a global stage. But as the cameras multiplied, so did the stakes. No longer merely a symbol of status, the red carpet became a test of identity, creativity, and defiance. Over decades, certain looks have unsettled, provoked, and shocked the world. Not because of fabric alone, but because of what they symbolized, what they risked, and what they revealed about the world around them. It's 1994 London, the premiere of 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Elizabeth Hurley, then a little-known actress and model, stepped onto the red carpet in a black Versace gown cut daringly open at the sides, held together only by oversized gold safety pins. The image was electric. Newspapers splashed it across front pages. Critics condemned it as indecent. In an instant, Hurley was no longer anonymous. She was iconic.
When I borrowed it, I'd never borrowed an item of clothing before, and nobody had heard of Versace in England.
But the shock was not just about skin. It was also about timing. See, the early 90s were dominated by minimalism. Designers like Calvin Klein, Helmut Lang, and Jil Sander championed muted palettes and restrained silhouettes. Fashion favored understatement, not spectacle. Into this landscape, Gianni Versace detonated an explosion of excess. The safety pin dress was the opposite of minimalism. It was maximalist, industrial, erotic, and unapologetically bold. Safety pins, normally seen as mundane objects of repair, were elevated into gold hardware, fusing this utility with danger. The gown seemed precarious, as if it could unravel at any moment.
It was interesting because when I put it on, I was like, wow. But in fact, I was like, is this gonna move? So before I left the house, I remember bending down to touch my toes and doing all this, nothing moved.
This collision between restraint and audacity made the moment unforgettable.
It was a very different time. People didn't really have personal stylists then. You just got your own outfit together and went out. It was much less red carpety at that time.
The cultural impact was immediate. Hurley's career transformed overnight. Versace's brand identity crystallized as the house of fearless sensuality, setting itself apart from the clean lines of its rivals. And most importantly, the red carpet itself was redefined. In one night, Hurley and Versace taught the world that the red carpet was no longer just about beauty, it was about power. It's 2002, the 74th Academy Awards. Halle Berry steps onto the red carpet in a gown that stops the world. Designed by Elie Saab, it featured a sheer, netted bodice embroidered with crimson flowers, flowing into a rich satin skirt. The dress revealed, but it also concealed. It was sensual yet dignified. That night, Berry made history. She became the first Black woman ever to win the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Monsters Ball. As she stood trembling at the podium, tears streaming, her dress became inseparable from the moment. It was no longer just fabric, it was a symbol. But to understand why it was shocking, we must look at the context. The early 2000s Oscars red carpet was still bound by conservatism. Stars played it safe with sleek gowns and muted tones, elegant but restrained. Transparency, when it appeared, was often subtle, veiled in layers of tulle or chiffon. Few dared true exposure. Barry's gown defied that restraint. Critics debated if it was too revealing for Hollywood's most prestigious night. But what made it unforgettable was how Barry wore it, with vulnerability, with strength, with history on her shoulders. In an industry that had marginalized women of color for decades, Barry's look was a double act of defiance.
Okay, wait a minute, I gotta take this 74 years here! Okay, I gotta take this time!
The gown cemented Elie Saab's international reputation as well, marking his arrival as a designer of both elegance and audacity.
To this day, one deep red gown is an enduring symbol of grace and strength.
In 2024, 22 years later, Halle wore the same iconic gown as she walked the runway at the biggest ever historic showcase for Elie Saab. It's 2001, the Academy Awards. Icelandic singer Björk arrives in a dress that seems to belong to another world. Designed by Marjan Pioski, it featured a sculpted swan draped around her neck, its head resting gently on her chest. She carried a small clutch shaped like an egg.
And talk about this outfit. This is not your swan song tonight. This is a rather unusual creation.
Yeah, my friend made it.
The dress was met with ridicule. Critics dismissed it as absurd. Joan Rivers called it ridiculous. The Los Angeles Times labeled it a, quote, one giant joke. The look topped worst-dressed lists for years. Yet with time, its meaning shifted. Björk had always positioned herself outside the mainstream. The ridicule missed the point. Björk was not trying to compete with Hollywood glamour. Her swan dress was not an accident. It was an intentional act of performance art. 2 decades later, fashion critics reevaluated the look. The meaning of the dress shifted. What was once mocked as tasteless is now hailed as iconic. The New York Times later recognized it as one of the most influential fashion moments in Oscars history. Designers have since cited it as inspiration, and museums have preserved it as an artifact of avant-garde design. The swan dress is now recognized as a radical act of self-expression.
It's 2010, the MTV Video Music Awards. You probably can remember Lady Gaga walking the red carpet in a dress constructed entirely from raw beef. Designed by France Fernandez and styled by Nicola Formichetti, the gown was stitched from cuts of real meat, draped over her body like fabric.
It smelled like meat. It was thrilling to wear. There's a corset under this, but the corset was sewn to the meat. So this is actually a garment.
The reaction was almost immediate. Outrage, disgust, fascination. Some critics called it grotesque.
By the end of the night, was the meat smelling?
Oh yes, but I kind of liked it.
It's disgusting.
Others saw it as brilliant performance art. Animal rights groups condemned it. But Gaga insisted it was political. She later explained,
We did want to make a statement because at the time they were trying to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. But we decided to do the meat dress because I thought to myself, if you are willing to die for your country, what does it matter how you identify?
the DADT policy was a significant issue for the LGBTQ+ community, as it forced individuals to hide their sexual orientation or risk discharge.
It has many interpretations, but for me this evening, it's as if we don't stand up for what we believe in, if we don't fight for our rights, pretty soon we're gonna have as much rights as the meat on our bones.
The shock was deliberate. The red carpet had been turned into a site of protest. Gaga's gown forced conversation about identity, rights, and the body itself. The dress was later preserved and displayed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing its place in history as a symbol of protest and advocacy. It's 2018, the Met Gala. Rihanna ascends the stairs of the Metropolitan Museum of Art dressed in a bejeweled papal mitre, a pearl-encrusted mini-guess, and a flowing cloak designed by Mason Margelia's John Galliano. The theme was heavenly bodies, fashion, and the Catholic imagination. Yet Rihanna did more than interpret the theme. She embodied it.
It feels expensive. It's heavy. They beaded this by hand, and it would be a sin not to wear it.
She did not dress like a guest of the church. She dressed like its leader. The ensemble was sartorial provocation. The papal mitre, traditionally worn by the Pope, was reimagined as a glittering crown, symbolizing authority and power. The mini dress, adorned with pearls and sequins, contrasted with the flowing cloak, creating a visual tension between modesty and opulence. Rihanna accessorized with a cross pendant, black bedazzled pumps, chunky silver rings, and a small clutch, completing the ecclesiastical look with a modern twist. The symbolism was layered.
By donning the attire of the Pope, critics say Rihanna challenged the gendered hierarchy of the Catholic Church, where women are barred from ordination. Critics saw this as Rihanna elevating herself to a position of spiritual authority, questioning the institution's exclusionary practices.
The look sparked controversy. Some critics viewed it as irreverent, while others praised it as a bold statement on gender and power. It's 2019, the Academy Awards. Actor Billy Porter glides down the carpet in a custom tuxedo gown by Christian Siriano. Structured tuxedo above, voluminous velvet skirt below, seamlessly blending masculine and feminine elements. The image shattered expectations. For decades, men on the red carpet had been restricted to tuxedos, nearly identical year after year.
I feel like you opened a door for many men that have wanted to have a gown option.
I hope so.
For Porter, the gown was more than a fashion choice. He explained,
I'm a man in a dress, and if I feel like wearing a dress, I'm gonna wear one.
His intention was to create a space for dialogue about masculinity and femininity.
I know that there is activism inside of fashion. I knew that that tuxedo dress would create a conversation surrounding what gender means. What all these rules we put on everybody in life, for what?
Porter pointed out,
women wearing pants is powerful, it's strong, everybody accepts it. The minute a man puts on a dress, it's disgusting.
The look was hailed as revolutionary. The gown was widely praised by fashion critics and was considered one of the standout moments of the 2019 Oscars red carpet.
That dress changed the world.
Yes,
it really did.
In the years following, Porter continued to use fashion as a platform for advocacy. At the 2019 Tony Awards, he wore a custom Celestino couture suit.
There was a uterus on the back made out of Swarovski crystals that you didn't see. Because I believe in women's rights. Because none of us are free till we're all free.
These moments endure not because they were beautiful or shocking in isolation, but because they made us look, think, and feel. The outfit is not surface, it's language. It can demand respect, redefine gender, challenge institutions. The red carpet is not just a mere backdrop. It can be used as a stage for confrontation. Behind every shocking look lies risk of misinterpretation, outrage, scandal, but also possibility, the chance to transform what a star can mean and what we can see. The fashion we remember is not always what pleases, but what unsettles. These looks endure because they exposed something real, because they turned the red carpet into a place where the world might finally see more than glamour, where it could finally glimpse the truths beneath and the people underneath the fancy clothes.